Greetings. This video I've entitled 3 and 4 make 1. Now, like everything else in this world, the answer is always 3. It's actually more than 3, but for the purposes of this, the answer is always 3. It's a yes, a no and a maybe. If you understand that 3 and 4 makes 1, well, you come to the same conclusions. There'll be some of you who say, no, I know that 3 and 4 make 7. Well, yes, it does as well. And there'll be a group of you that will think, well, I'll listen, see what he says. So they're the maybes. Now, in the last video, I said I was going to give you the definition of the Bible, and there were 3. I actually forgot to mention the last one. The word Bible, one of the meanings of that is announcement of death by a banshee, and El is another name for Saturn. So you could say it is the death of a god. So there's your 3 meanings. Also, when with reference to it being by bull, 2 bulls, in the woman you have the uterus, the uterus, which why some women maybe have to have stitches. It's always said that it is put in place as a punishment. Now, with the answers being 3 to things, so that's yes, no and maybe, and given that the Bible is 2 bulls or 2 suns, when you consider you have a light source called the sun, a light source called the moon. Now they're both light. Where is the dark? In Gnosticism they talk about the black sun as well as the white sun, the twin suns. Within the Catholic Church you have the Pope dressed in white, the white Pope. Amongst conspiracy theories there is the black Pope, the one you don't see. And there is also the third player, their perceived version of what they are telling you is evil. So you have lots of 3s there. You have 3s within yourself. I have actually made some notes for once, just more as a prompt to myself. I'll give you another example of a 3. One of the previous videos I've made, which has had considerably more views than the videos either side of it, is down to its title being called XYZ Oral Sex, and I'm sure most people went in because they've looked at those 2 words, oral and sex, and seen it in the 3-dimensional physical sense of the word. Now, I'm sure most of you have heard the expression mindfuck. Well, isn't that a reference to something sexual but takes place in the mind? And what about the meeting of hearts as well? Even within 3D, it is multi-dimensional. I can say I've taken on multi-armed form. Legend would portray me to have more than 2 arms, perhaps like an Indian god. But what am I armed with? A sharp tongue, the ability to read words in 2 directions, to look at numbers and realise that it is the empowerment that makes them good and evil. It is true about knowing nothing means you find everything. Everything points towards the darkness as well. Shock, horror. I'm advocating going towards the dark. We must be very clear and distinct about this. It is a completely different dark from the perceived dark of black magic and evil. If you look at the symbol for Buddha, it is a man alone and at peace. If you look at the symbol for Jesus, even nailed to a cross, he is at peace. And all these deities are often depicted in singular form and looking very calm. In spiritual terms, if you think about it, about meditation, you go within yourself as well. And it's even encoded in our language when people say, oh, I was in a really dark place, or my heart was feeling heavy. Now, there is no physical aspect to it, but you do feel it. I'm going to give you another example of something now. I want you to picture a man. This is a man that I met a long time ago. I would say he was in his early 50s, short hair, dressed very much like you would expect the Men in Black to be, with the trilby and the raincoat. And of course he had those sort of wire-rimmed glasses on as well. Now do you see what I've started to do there? I've given you a story. Now, without even consciously realising it, your brain will most likely have started filling in the other parts of that picture of what that man's face looked like, what colour his coat was, what type of shoes he was wearing, and so on. What colour hair he had, what colour were those glasses. You are a creator in your own mind. You start to create a mental picture. It is the same as if you talk to somebody through Messenger or comments on Facebook. You may not know that person, you may not have physically met that person, but you will start to form a picture in your mind of what you think that person might look like, and possibly how they think as well. We all have this creative ability in us. That proves it, does it not? And there is a huge crossover between these dimensions and these manifestations, between thought and vocalizing them as well. Another aspect to this triangulation of things. Now think of a pyramid. Now you're looking at it from the underside, so you're seeing the base, so you're seeing 4 corners, you're seeing a square. From the physical plane you will see a triangle if you are at 90 degrees to one of the sides. If you are viewing it from above, you will see the 4, you will also see the 3, and you will also see a center point. Now that's in a physical form that is possible, well, well, certainly in thought you can do it. Maybe you can't actually get underneath a pyramid physically. Potentially you can, or you could. If you could float that pyramid off the ground, you would see the underside. But that's only going to give you half the picture, because for that there is a yes and a no and a maybe as well. It is the same with everything. Now to come back to the point of 3 and 4 makes 1, it's all just pie in the sky. Quite literally. The sky being the mind, where the heavens are, the crown and the third eye. That is where the heavens really are. It is an infinite space. You determine it by how much you can get your head round. Now you don't actually physically, your skull does not expand to take in this extra expanse, but it's there in your mind. It is limitless. This is part of the true potential of humanity, if they can just see what they really are. So the 3.14, which is pi, 3 is the representation of the feminine, 4 is the representation of the masculine. Between the 3 and the 4 is 1. So the masculine and the feminine in union, in whichever form you wish to do it, whether it be heart, mind or physically, in body, creates 1. That is the point of it. Creation. 3.14. Easy as pie. So I'll leave you with those thoughts there, and do put your response in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think of this. So what I'm actually saying is there's a third player in all this. It's not just good and evil at all. And are we not supposed to find the balance through being calm and peaceful, going within oneself? That, I would suggest, is the true answer to all of this. Thank you.